Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk Warrior women's basketball. Head coach Scott Ballard, and actually, I want to talk about you first. I know you don't usually like to talk about the milestones and that sort of thing, but this weekend you had your 200th win as the head coach of the Warrior women's basketball program, and I believe 470 now overall in your college career. What does that mean to you? Does that mean anything at this point in your career?
First, it makes me feel really old. Now, honestly, what it means is that I've been doing this for a while, and I've been blessed with a lot of really good players and a lot of really good assistant coaches. I learned a long time ago, if you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. And 12 years ago when I came here, inherited a program that was just about belly up. And we started from ground zero, and we took it on the chin the first couple of years I was here. We won 3 games that first year and had 9 walk-on freshmen on our team to help fill a roster just so that we could play out the schedule and compete. And all those kids did a great job of improving as the year went along. And we kept a few of them a second year and brought in our first recruiting class, and the second year we won 10 games and we're competitive, but it wasn't until year number 3 that we won more games than we lost, and then everything is kind of just continued to build and progress. And I'll never forget those beginning years and the struggles that we went through and wondering how long is this going to take, but it just it was proof to me that the formula of surrounding yourself with good people and people that care about each other and they care about being their best in the classroom and on the basketball floor. It's not a secret. It's a simple formula, but it's one that's proven itself over and over again.
We will get to talk about the games from this weekend, but I do want to ask you one more question. Was it part of the challenge of trying to rebuild a program that made you come here? Because, like you said, that first season was kind of rough because you didn't have a whole lot of players to play with.
The good thing about not having very many players that you inherit from the past is that you have all of your players. In 1 year, we were surrounded by all of our own players that we hand-selected because of their skill set, athleticism, attitude, work ethic, character. So that's the good side and silver lining of not having to wait 2 or 3 years to have all of your own players. But every college job I've had, this is the 3rd one that I've had, every one of them were broken in some way, and some people like to take automobiles and restore them into classic cars, and it's always just been very appealing to me, because I'm a competitor, to take something that is struggling and see if I can fix it. And that makes me feel good about myself and makes me feel good about the people that are involved in it and turn things around. We had our alumni game just a week ago, and it was so heartwarming for me, and a lot of flashbacks of memories of those players of different eras that came in with me at the beginning or in the middle or the last couple of years, and to see how much pride that they have in the part that they played in where we started and where we're at now. And I never want our current players to ever take that for granted or to forget that. and so that was a very special weekend.
While we're on the topic, I do want to ask you about that alumni game. Were there players that came before your time here at Winona State, and do they say anything to you about where the program is now?
Yeah, they made comments about how proud they were of the success that we're having, and in return I wanted them to know that we were proud of them for what they started here, and if it wasn't for their humble beginnings, our current players would not be able to enjoy the success and the resources and the opportunities to compete like we are now.
This weekend, wins over Bemidji State and Minnesota Crookston. Bemidji was the one where you went to 200. With just about 3 minutes left in this segment, was there anything that stood out from this weekend from either of those games? It was a close game against Bemidji, kind of a blowout against Crookston.
Well, the Bemidji game, the score was deceiving. We were up 29-9 in that game, and then the second half we didn't play very well offensively. Got in a little bit of foul trouble, didn't handle late clock situations very well, and so we weren't near as potent offensively, and we weren't very consistent. But then 24 hours later, we knew that we were playing a really good team on the road that we hadn't won there. It's been like 3 or 4 years since we'd won there, but they had big wins over Augie, Wayne, St. Cloud. They're dangerous, and they'd only lost one time at home. And we also knew that they were a high-scoring team. They had number 3 and 4 leading scorers in the league on the same team. They're both seniors, impact players, and we knew going into that game that we were going to have to score points because they're high octane offensively. But we also felt like there were some things defensively that we could expose on their team with matchups that were in our favor. And as it turned out, we had an exceptional shooting game. Connor really got us going in the first half, hitting 6 threes. When you shoot the ball well, it makes everything else seem a lot easier. But we basically beat Crookston at their own game, and both teams hit 11 threes. So that's 66 points that were scored between two teams from three-point land, which is a lot of fun for fans to watch. And it was fun for me to watch as long as we had a 20-point lead. But we played really well, and I was proud of our players, how focused they were, and how they competed from start to finish.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about the exceptional shooting game, I would say, against Crookston, 67.8% from the field for the game. We'll talk about that in the next segment when Connor Nagle joins us from the women's basketball team right after this. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill.
Get an inside look at the Winona State basketball program with Warriors Fast Break on TV 25, brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Host Justin Barrientos sits down with the Warriors head coaches each week to break down last week's game and to look ahead at WSU's next opponent, as well as chat with Winona State players. Tune in at 4:30 p.m. on Thursdays, 6 p.m. on Fridays, 7 a.m. on Saturdays, and before every Warrior home game for Warriors Fast Break on HBC, brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill.
We chose HBC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HBC advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on TV 25, brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. We'll now talk to Connor Nagle from the Warrior basketball team. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
And let's talk a little bit about this weekend, because against Bemidji State, the Warriors shot 48% from the field, which is still pretty good. And then you have Minnesota Crookston, where you shoot over 67%. Was there kind of a difference? Did you feel a difference between those two games?
Right. I think our mentality probably influenced our difference the most. I feel like we went into Crookston with just more focus, which isn't always, you know, I wish we would have went into Bemidji with the same focus as we went into Crookston. I don't know if we just overlooked Bemidji when we shouldn't have. You know, they're a good team, and they came out to play. But yeah, Crookston was just a different story, and we came out ready to play hard and shoot the ball, and we shot the ball really well. And I think it's very, you know, when someone starts shooting the ball really well, it's very contagious. And although versus Bemidji, you said we shot 48%, I'm surprised by that, and maybe that's because I didn't shoot the ball well, and so I was kind of just thinking, you know, gosh, I'm so cold. But yeah, it's when someone shoots the ball well, it's contagious and it's fun. So yeah, I was happy with how we came out and played against Crookston, coming off of Bemidji the night before.
Well, you rebounded well against Crookston, tying a career high with 7 3-point shots. I want to ask about being. Sometimes the athletes say it's in the zone. I mean, does it? How do you approach a game like that where you're shooting so well? I think Coach said 6 in the first half, where you feel like anything is going to go in on a certain night. Yeah,
you know, honestly, I did feel like that. I felt like I couldn't miss, and it's fun to have games like that because coming off the night before where I went 1 for 5 or 1 for 6, whatever it was, you know, it's just nice to have a game like that because, you know, I'm human. I'm not going to make every shot, and it's a nice reminder that I shouldn't be so hard on myself when I do miss. And Coach always says, you know, focus on the next play, focus on the next play, and I think a lot of times I struggle with that. And so when I have games like I did against Crookston, it's just a reminder that I can't shoot the ball. You know, I just have to relax and just play like I can play, and good things will happen.
When a player is having a night like that, and I know Connor's on the floor most of the time, she doesn't take a whole lot of breaks, but is it harder to take somebody off the floor when they're shooting 6 3-pointers in a
Yeah, we talked about it at halftime of the Crookston game. I asked her and Alexis both, I said, did you guys get tired in the first half? And they reluctantly said yes, but I was reluctant about taking them out because we were on such a roll that as long as they were doing okay, I wasn't going to mess with it. But, you know, we need to give them some breaks when we have the opportunity, you know, save their legs for later, but and take advantage of our bench as well. But, you know, I think the main thing with Connor as well as some of the other kids on our team is to always stay aggressive. You know, like she got some really good looks against Crookston back to back in a short period of time. Against Bemidji, she didn't get those same looks as often. And sometimes people play mind games with themselves when they miss a couple and then they're not as aggressive, and then they missed an opportunity that was there because they were hesitant. It's like just always stay aggressive and be ready.
Can you feel it in pregame warm-ups if you're going to have an off night or a good night? Because it seems like your demeanor never changes. So I'm just interested if you can feel it at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like before every game, I always have the mindset that I'm going to shoot the ball really well. And then I guess sometimes if in a warm-up, you know, I'm not shooting the ball very well, I just try to think, you know, I'm saving it for the game, I'm saving it for the game. So either way, I try to spin it positively. Coach taught me that little trick, you know, you're either saving it for the game or, you know, you're just getting hot right before the game. Either way, you got to just spin it positive. So.
And I have to ask you about something that happened off the court then.
Yeah.
Something with your car.
Yeah.
I saw it on Twitter, and Victoria Larson, one of our color announcers, said something that your car burst into flames.
Yeah, that happened. I got home from the library, and I was getting out of my car, and I smelled something, you know, and I was just like, what the heck? What is that? You know, I thought maybe my backpack was like close up under my, you know, where my heater in my car or something. I mean, who thinks their car is on fire?
Right.
So I get out, and I definitely smelled something that like didn't smell right, and I looked like under my car and there was just flames, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck do I do? And so I called 911 right away, and meanwhile Emily and I had just moved into this new apartment, Emily Passant, and so I run inside. I didn't even know our address. I run inside and I asked what our address was, and here come the fire department. They put it out. It's totaled. It's gone.
Oh no.
So
it's literally toast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was the team reaction to that?
Well, I don't know what the team reaction was. I know I started getting a couple pictures text to me. It's like, wow, you know, it's like how does something like that happen? It seems like something you see on TV, but to be in real life, the main thing was, are you okay?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
You can replace the car. She has insurance, but It's all behind her now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, very interesting. I had seen something though on Twitter. You had another car incident with your mom's car.
I did, yes. Over Christmas break, my mom opened up, okay, well, it's my fault, but my mom had opened up the garage door halfway, and so I jumped in her car to run to the grocery store. And so when I looked in the mirror, I could still see out, you know, because the lower half was open, and I just took out the brand new garage door with her car.
Oh, no.
So I'm having really bad luck.
Well, hopefully the luck changes this
Yeah.
weekend for the games, and I hope you have a good weekend shooting this weekend.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us. We're going to take a break here on Warriors Fast Break, and when we come back, we'll talk men's basketball with Coach Todd Eisner. That's coming up right after this. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill.
Go beyond entertainment with HBC GigaWorld and get the broadband experience. Video chat without buffering. Stream your favorite shows and movies with TV to go. Dominate your online games and more with gigabit internet speeds. Watch over 300 video channels, including high definition, sports, HBO, Cinemax Stars Plus, Encore Showtime, and more. Call friends and family with reliable, crystal clear, unlimited local and domestic long distance phone service. Experience broadband the way it's meant to be with HBC GigaWorld. Visit hbci.com to get started today.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on TV 25. Time now to talk men's basketball. Head coach Todd Eisner with us. And congratulations for this weekend. It was the first road sweep that the Warriors have had since the 2013-14 season. So let's talk about the games. First of all, Bemidji State got contributions from a lot of different players. Talk a little bit about how that game went at Bemidji.
Well, it was an interesting game in that we really struggled early. And offensively, we were out of sync, really struggling to make easy plays, and got down early at a significant margin, and made a really good comeback towards the end of the first half to cut the score to 1, and then did a really nice job the last 10 minutes of the game offensively to separate ourselves in the last 3 minutes.
In an instance like that where you're down early and you need to take a timeout or whatever, what are some of the things that you say in the huddle to a team to try to motivate them to get out of that?
Well, we just needed to make things easier on ourselves. So our attention to detail executing on the offensive end was not good. I think that led to us not defending at a very high level. You know, they kind of go hand in hand usually. And so I just thought we needed to do a better job of paying attention to detail, making plays and possessions easier for us. And like I said, the key to the game, I thought, was down 10 or down 11 late in the first half. We rallied and cut it to 1. Kyle hit a big 3 at the end of the half to get it to 32-33, and allowed us to stay close enough that when we did clean some things up in the second half, it allowed us to get the victory.
Now, as I said, there were several players that kind of helped late in that game to propel you. One of them, Isaiah Gray, had a really good second half of the game. Talk about his performance.
Well, Isaiah was really key for us. I mean, he made some plays off the dribble that I think people are used to Isaiah making, and played the way we expect him to play. I mean, he did a really nice job of finishing at the rim, knocked in a big jump shot for us to get the lead with about 2.5 minutes to go. So he was a big factor in our comeback win.
Then Connor Flack was back this weekend, so you had him and you had Tommy Getke have big performances to help you as well.
Yeah, Tommy was incredible. Tommy came in about the 15-minute mark of the second half, and we were down 12, and he scored 10 straight points, and hit 2 threes, hit a layup off of a turnover, and just did a really nice job. Isaiah fed him for a really nice basket in that same stretch. So Tommy and Connor did a nice job. It was great to have Connor back after missing a couple weeks with the ankle injury.
I know we talked about this with Kyle, but the fact that Tommy, as a big man, can knock down 3-pointers, how important is that going to be moving forward for your team?
Well, we really have all, if all 5 guys can stretch the defense. Obviously, Tommy did a nice job on Friday night, and Kyle's been pretty consistent. Nick Arns is someone that can stretch the defense at 22 feet, and Charlie Kuntz has shown that at times. So we've really been very fortunate that we've got what we consider to be our post players that have the ability to knock down the 3-point shot.
In that Bemidji game, it was kind of a strange thing. Bemidji actually outshot you percentage-wise, but you're still able to get the win. What were some of the factors that led to winning even though you were outshot? Well,
one, for the first time in a long time, we got to the free throw line. And a lot of it was late, but we got to the line 28 times and knocked down 23. That was always important. We had good scoring balance again, as you had mentioned, and that was another key. But, I thought the first 15 minutes of the game, we were just so out of sync. We had 15 points, I think, at the 5-minute timeout of the first half, and then we scored 69 points the last 25 minutes. So it was kind of a night and day, 2 different halves, really, from an offensive standpoint, and played much better the second half.
All right, let's move on then to the Minnesota-Crookston game and talk about that, because was defense then something that you kind of keyed in on for that game? Because you only gave up 10 points in the first half against Crookston.
I thought the first shot defense was really, really good. We defended the dribble really well. They run the Wisconsin swing offense that Bo Ryan had created, and I thought we did a nice job of defending that in the first half. And they missed some shots maybe they're used to making, but we weren't any good offensively either. And so 12-point lead at the half. We felt pretty good about it. Really liked where we were defensively. The second half was as good a defense as we played. First shot defense again, and then we just didn't rebound the basketball. If we'd have rebounded the basketball, we would have made the game a lot easier on us.
Now, I remember last week when we were talking about Crookston in the preview, you talked about the fact that they run that Wisconsin offense. How important was it to be able to recognize that and know that going into the game, that this is exactly what they're going to be running, this is exactly what you're going to see? Yeah,
Coach Melvick did a great job on the scout, and we worked on it for a couple days in practice leading up to the game, just to make sure our guys were used to defending the flex cuts and the up screens, and their perimeter players were their best players, and I thought for the most part we did a nice job on them. And like I said, the only negative to the game is we just did not rebound the ball. If we rebounded the ball, I'm not sure they would have scored 30 points. And so our first shot defense was really good. If we can take that with us throughout the rest of the year, I think we'll be pleased with some of the possibilities that I had in the last month of the season.
Who are some of the players that had some big contributions in that Crookston game?
Well, Mark Blacklock was really good, and he kind of stuffed the stat sheet for us and scored inside, scored outside, did a nice job on the glass, made some good passes. So he was good. Isaiah was okay. He bounced back and had some big plays for us again. But when you only score 52 points, there's not a lot of accolades to go around in terms of the way we scored. But defensively, I thought for the most part our guys did a nice job.
Okay, and then looking forward to this week, home again, St. Cloud State and Minnesota Duluth. Talk about those matchups.
Well, a little bit different in that both teams really score. St. Cloud have 2 of the top scorers in the league, both perimeter players in Stone and Davis, and we're going to have to do a great job on those 2. They get shots off. They get shots off quickly. They're volume shooters, and we've got to make sure we do a great job on the defensive end of the floor. And then Duluth has been one of the better teams in the North Division all year, so we've got our hands full this weekend. It's going to come down to whether or not we can defend at a high level, and then we've got to clean some things up offensively to be more efficient on that end.
Okay, let's take a break here on Warriors Fast Break. When we come back, we'll talk with one of the players, Nick Arns, coming up right after this. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill. Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, the Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HBC TV 25. Welcome back to Warriors Fast Break, brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Time now to talk to Nick Arns from the Warrior basketball team. Thanks for joining us. I got to ask you a question about a profile that was done about you in the Winona Daily News a couple weeks ago. John Casper had written about the rehabbing from an injury and the fact that you're on an exercise bike a lot of time during practice and during games. Are you ever going to want to see another bicycle once your basketball career is over?
Probably not. Never really been into biking that much, but I mean, I've been doing a lot this year, so maybe down the road it might be a good exercise for me, especially having little knee problems here and there. So
talk about why you're on that bike, because you found that your knee kind of locks up a little bit.
Yeah, I had surgery before the season. I have to have surgery after the season, and so basically, if I go through practice or anything, and I sit down and sit like this for a while after practice, it'll lock up. So I just try to keep it loose. I have it on like a really low intensity, so it's really not that tiring to do that on the sideline or anything. So.
Oh, okay, but one of the funny things is that I read that sometimes you don't see him on the bench then because he's on the bike.
Yeah, it really has happened this year, more so earlier, and it's just one of those things in the heat of the moment you turn to look for a sub, and we've needed a lot of subs this year because we foul a lot, and so we've always got to look for the next guy up if somebody's getting 2 fouls in the first half or whenever it may be, and there has been times where I can forget to look all the way down to the end of the bench, and and realize that Nick's still there.
So in that instance, you kind of lean forward on your bike a little bit.
Right here,
So
Coach.
yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Very good. I want to go back to your high school days because on Alaska, so it's very close here to Winona. You won a state championship your senior year. Talk about that a little bit and some of the memories that you have in your senior year.
Yeah, winning state, especially being a senior, is one of the best feelings ever. Going out with a win, not many teams get to do that. And playing with a group of guys that I've played with since I was like elementary school was pretty cool too. Like playing with them for 12, 15 years is pretty cool. So it was nice to finally get that final product of a state championship with my friends and stuff. So.
And then even before that, I mean, you had made state what, your freshman or sophomore year?
No, we lost the sectional final every year before that. So it was kind of nice to finally get state and win it senior year. So.
What was the reaction then to finally get there and to finally win that section to get there?
It was a relief. I mean, I didn't get to play my junior year because of my knee, but my first 2 years, I mean, we were right there in both those games and lost to the same team my first 2 years. So it was kind of finally a relief just to get through that.
One of the things that when I was researching you and trying to find some articles about you to find some questions, your name came up with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I understand that there is a Timberwolves shootout. Talk about that. I didn't even know that that was a thing, but now it's in like its 20th year. It's kind of high school players playing against. Is it other high school players or is it like alumni that have played in that tournament?
No,
before?
it's just they try to match up teams from, I think, Wisconsin, Minnesota, maybe even Iowa too. They try to bring up really good teams from the area to play at the Target Center. I think Raleigh family played on it too, and we played it at my junior and senior year. We played at Apple Valley my senior year against Tyus Jones and stuff, so that was pretty cool. Also played Isaiah Gray when I was a junior, Benilde when I was a junior, and so we played some really good teams there, and it's a good tournament. So.
What's it like to play on that floor and
really
to know
cool.
that it's an NBA arena?
It's really cool. I mean, it's not many people get to do it, and it was a privilege to be able to play on that floor twice, actually. So, I mean, playing good teams, too, and a couple kids that are in the NBA now, so really cool. Okay.
Now, in your career after high school, you went to UW Green Bay first. Talk about that experience, because I know that you didn't maybe play as much as you thought you would like to.
I enjoyed Green Bay a lot. I mean, the teammates were great, and liked the coaches and stuff, and just wasn't the right fit, whether it was playing time or just the overall, just the campus and the school. I was lucky enough to find Winona and have some great teammates here, and had a good 2 years and looking to finish out my last year with a bang. So.
All right, now since you were Division I as a player, do you kind of lean on the experience of those that have come from Division I when they come down to Division II?
Well, I think we've just leaned on the vets in general. They've got a really good feel for what it takes to be successful, and I've been really impressed with Nick and the other seniors that I've inherited that, they've been taught really well. They have a good grasp of how to play the game, and you can tell they're there for the right reasons. They do a great job every day of having enthusiasm, of paying attention to the things that we want to get done over practicing games. And so we've relied on Nick a lot, along with the other three seniors, to just be great role models for everybody else on our team on a daily basis to help move this program forward.
All right, last question or two that we have then. Your father was a college basketball player as well, and apparently he started working on you very early on to get basketball. Is there a time in your memory that you don't have basketball in, or was that right away from the beginning?
I don't think so. I think right away, growing up, Dad always, I remember going to like all his men's league games and at the YMCA and the Omni Center and everything, watching him play and stuff like that. So, I grew up with it and kind of stuck with it and never let it go. So.
Talk about those kind of early years when he was teaching you the game. What are some of the things that maybe he tried to teach you to give you a leg up on your competition?
Definitely just all-around skill, not just being a bigger kid. I've always been bigger, just working on the post. He took me out, did a lot of shooting and dribbling and ball handling, and that's helped me a lot, especially being in high school. Being able to stretch the defense. Coach talked about that. It's huge for post players to be able to step out and knock down mid-range jump shots and even threes too.
Is there ever anything that you've come back to him and said, boy, you were right about this. I didn't expect that this would happen to me?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely just the shooting, I think, is how much of an asset that is now for me, especially just because, I'm not the most athletic person out there. So, just being able to shoot and definitely has helped a lot, so I can thank him for that.
All right, well, we'll make sure to get you out of here so that you can stretch out your knee a little bit and it doesn't lock up on you on the way out. Good luck this weekend in the games.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us here on Warriors Fast Break, and we'll see you next time here on TV 25.